Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I am so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me because today we will be doing a reading vlog where we are continuing some series. This is nothing new to this channel, and one of my goals for 2026 was to figure out how to read series efficiently, and a part of that is getting through the series that are finished. Why am I not finishing series that are already finished? So in this, I plan to make progress in some series, but also to finish up a couple if I can. I know there are at least two that I'm thinking about that I could finish off. And so let's hope that we get that done in this video. But anyway, I'm not going to hold you any longer. Let's go see what I got up to in this reading vlog. We have accomplished greatness already starting this video off, and that is finishing the Book of Life. This is the third book in the All Souls series, the last book in the original trilogy that Deborah Harkness wrote. And friends, I have been putting this book off for the greater part of a year for no other reason than I just have been putting it off. Like, I was excited to read it. I wanted to see how the original storyline was going to wrap up and all the things. And being with these characters in this world is kind of a comfort to me at this point. So, that, like I said, there is absolutely no reason why I have not already read this book. So, because it is the last book in what is the original arc of this series, I can't tell you much, but what I can tell you is that in All Souls, we are following Diana Bishop, who is a witch, but she does not practice, and she is a professor at Oxford, I think, and she's in the library, the Bodleian Library, if I'm not mistaken, and she ends up calling this magical manuscript that people have been searching for hundreds of years at this point, and she has the first person who's been able to have access to it. And so, of course, she gets a lot of attention from the magical creatures that are hiding in plain sight. One of them being Matthew Claremont, who is a vampire slash scientist, and they end up falling in love with each other. But in this world, there is a covenant where there are supposed to be no interspecies relationships. So witches supposed to be with witches, demons with demons, vampires with vampires, no crossover. And so that starts a whole other situation because Matthew is from this very powerful vampire family, and we all just go from there with Diana trying to figure out her connection to this book and how to recall it once she has given it back, because she has trouble with that. Why is it only responding to her? All of these things, and it's just this dark academia situation that's also like historical, also like thriller-ish, and like romantasy-ish, fantasy romance, whatever you want to call it. Here's all the things. Okay, so if you are like a nerdy, vampy, witchy person, this is going to work for you. It's going to work for you. And so I rated this particular book a 4-star. I thought it was a great ending to the original series, and I really liked where we ended up with this. I had a good time. It was very comforting being back in this world, even though it's always some stuff going down and it's never like an actual quiet moment. So that's very interesting that I find this comforting. But yeah, I do think that this is something that I will find myself down the road rereading, because I haven't even finished the other books. Diana Harkness. I put her name together. What? Deborah Harkness is still putting out books in this world. And like I said, this story arc is finished, but she says she got more to say. So she has put out 2 more books so far. And I think 1 more is supposed to come out this year, if I'm not mistaken. So I will continue picking them up until she is finished, because like I said, I really enjoy being in this world. And then after I finished this book, I finally went and finished the show, because I start each season is based on a book, which made it really easy to follow along with. But I started watching the show to not have to reread books 1 and 2 before going into this book. And then I started season 3. And so it's like, okay, you're going to spoil yourself for this book because it follows pretty closely. There are some differences. I think the most differences that I saw was season 3, actually. But for the most part, it follows the same storyline. And so I stopped myself and I didn't allow myself to go back and finish season 3 until I finished this book. And it was good. I like the show. I think it does a good job at recreating the series. But anyway, yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Had a good time, and maybe, hopefully, this year I can pick up the other 2 books that are in this world. So, yeah, we have done a great thing. That's it. All right, so I ended up listening to the audiobook for The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco, and let me tell you a little bit about it before I tell you what I thought about it. So, in this, we follow footballing legend Nick, who leads a charming life, rich, successful, and internationally adored. No woman or man has ever rejected him until a tattooed goddess blows his mind and captures his heart with just 1 kiss. Distrustful of men and disdainful of love, Arya's tongue is as sharp as her winged eyeliner. She knows from experience that Nick, like any smoking hot himbo with bags of cash, is too good to be true. So she's determined to send this walking temptation packing. Fortunately, Nick's devised the perfect strategy to win his woman. Step 1, offer her an obscene amount of money to be his fake girlfriend. Step 2, whisk her away to a lavish Spanish villa under the watchful eye of his entire team. Step 3, figure out, between all the fake flirtation and phony PDA, how to make her love him back. Okay, so I really liked the audiobook narrators for this. I thought they were great. So if you do plan on reading this book, I would suggest the audiobook. I liked Arya as a main character. I liked Nick as the main character, I think. But it's just something about this story that did not really click with me. And I wanted to believe it. I wanted to be invested. But like, something was just missing. Here's the thing. Arya agreed to be Nick's fake girlfriend on this vacation that he was going on with all of his friends. So they would kind of, stay off his back. And also so that Nick would not get into any kind of sticky situations, because Nick has a hard time saying no. So Arya was supposed to be there to basically be his bodyguard and a pretend girlfriend. And let's just say, for the sake of not spoiling it, there's a situation where new information about that agreement comes to light, but it does not really change the, to me, it didn't make a difference. Okay, I'm going to say that, to me, in my opinion, it did not make a difference, but it was really blown up into this big whole situation. And I was just like, no, it wasn't giving that. And it just felt very overly dramatic. And I'm just like irritated, because why are y'all acting like this? Like, it wasn't even that big of a deal, in my opinion. So why are y'all acting like this? And there was a component to this where some things have happened to Arya that have made her distrustful of men and herself. And I did feel for her in the moments where she was talking about it. And I don't know, I rated this a 2.5 star, and I don't really have much more to say about it if I'm being honest. I feel like I would be rambling if I kept or just trying to find stuff to say. Yeah, I don't know. And this is the same feeling that I have had with any of Talia Hibbert's older works. Anything outside of the Brown sisters is just meh to me. And that is so heartbreaking. And because I love those books so much, they are some of my favorite books of all time. So I want to find more books by this author that I love. And I am struggling. I'm struggling. Okay. And oh no, it's too about that. It's making me sad. But yeah, I am happy that I finished out this series. Like I said, unfortunately, I didn't find anything that I absolutely loved, but it's another series ticked off the list. If this sounds good to you, I think you should definitely give it a try. Also, like, it had some good spice to it. It was good. Talia Hibbert usually does have good spice in her books. I haven't not read any good spice by her, so that's not anything new. And yeah, that's all I got. Sorry, y'all. Okay, y'all, so I have finished Merciless Saviors, and I am ready to talk about it because this book finished me. I didn't finish it. It completely finished me. So this is the second book and final book in the Ouroboros duology. The first book in this series is called Godly Heathens, and I guess I'm going to tell you about that since I can't tell you really about this. So in Godly Heathens, we follow Jim, who is a non-binary Seminole teen living in a tiny town of Gracie, Georgia. Known for being their peers' queer awakening, Jim leans hard on charm to disguise the anxious mess they are beneath. The only person privy to their authentic self is another trans kid, Enzo, who is 1,000 long painful miles away in Brooklyn. But even Enzo doesn't know about Jim's dreams, haunting visions of magic and violence that have always felt too real. So why does Willamette Hardy, the strange new girl in town, act like she and Jim are old companions and seems to know things about them they've never told anyone else? When Jim is attacked by a stranger claiming to be the goddess of death, Willamette saves their life and finally offers some answers. She and Jim are reincarnated gods who've known and loved each other across lifetimes. But Jim, or at least who Jim used to be, has not always been the most benevolent deity. They made a lot of enemies in the pantheon, enemies who, like the goddess of death, will keep coming. It's a good thing they still got Enzo. But as worlds collide and the past catches up with the present, Jim will discover that everyone has something to hide. And then in Merciless Saviors, we kind of start right after the effects of a really big explosive event that changes everything. Okay? And I want to start out by saying that the content and trigger warnings for this book is serious. It's very serious, and this book is heartbreaking. This one right here, this one almost got me. I am not a person who cries at books at all. Like, that's just not my thing. But when I tell you my eyes got watery and I couldn't see, Jim almost got me. This is so heartbreaking for all of the characters, and you just want good things to happen for all of them. And at some point, it don't look like that's gonna happen. And yeah, this was hard. This was very hard and very mind trickery. Because if you just sat at the end, I just sat and I was like, what? Yeah. this was so good. I think more people need to pick this series up. I'm so happy that I went ahead and finished it. I definitely did the right thing by waiting until I was in a decent-ish headspace to take on this book, because like I said, it's a lot of trauma, it's a lot of hurt, a lot of bad things happening to people. And yeah, but I rated this book a 4 stars. This was a 4-star series for me, and I'm just happy that I took a chance on it, because I actually pre-ordered Godly Heathens during one of the pre-order sales. I was just reading and I thought the synopsis sounded good, and like I found a gem in gem. And I'm so excited. This is a YA fantasy series, but I think that it's right there on the edge, because I feel like some of the topics tackled in this are very serious. And yeah, I can't really say too much about the plot. This is such a quick read. Both of them are. They're like right around 300 pages, so it doesn't take you a lot of time to get through these, but they pack a punch for sure. And I don't know, I just I had a really good time with this series. I'm glad that I finally finished it. Another one off my list. Okay, y'all. So I have finished reading More Than This, and it is time to talk about it. Okay, so this is the follow-up to the Davenports, and basically in this series, so I think this is duology. I'm not certain about that though. So in this, we're following 4 young ladies, I'm going to call them. We have the Davenport sisters, Helen and Olivia. We have Olivia's best friend, whose name is Ruby. And then we also have Amy Rose, who kind of grew up with the Davenports, but because her mother worked for them, and later on Amy Rose started working for them, but in this one she's kind of branching out and doing something different. But anyway, yeah, that's who we're following, and it's kind of Bridgerton-esque in a way, just how the kids are running around being messy, not really sure what they want to do with their lives. Everybody's kind of in a different place with what is supposed to be expected of them, yada yada yada. So in this one, Ruby is newly engaged, and we follow her as she wedding plans, and as her father runs to be the first Black mayor of Chicago, and see how all of that plans out. Olivia is expected to be getting married soon and fulfilling her daughterly duty or whatever. And also she has just kind of stepped into activism, and she's kind of learning about, you know, herself and what she can do as someone of privilege. And so she is figuring all that out. Helen just wants to work on cars and do that. She wants to work for the family business. But of course, as a woman in this age, that is not what women did. And so she's kind of fighting back against that. And it's time for her to make her debut, and she don't want it. So yeah, and then Amy Rose has recently left the Davenport house to venture out into, you know, start a new project, is what I'm going to call it. And yeah, so what I will say about this book is that I didn't like it as much as I did the first book. I feel like the first book really kind of, I don't know. Maybe it was all of the, sorry, this cover is shiny. A lot of like the mess and things that was going on in the first book. We didn't really have that in this one as much. And so it kind of felt a little meandering and a little, I don't want to say boring, but more of a character study, because we're just following them throughout their lives. And while things are happening to them that seem important, it's just kind of like, yeah, we're here. And some of the way that the storylines went, I was not expecting, and I'm not sure if I liked it. I don't think I liked how this ended. Like, yes, our characters were happy in their situations and things turned out good for everybody, but I just felt kind of like, yay, that's it. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't like this one as much as I did the first book, and I only rated this a 3-star, but it was still good. I'm still going to recommend this series. It is YA, so it could just be that I usually don't even read YA romance, which I would call this, because it mainly focuses on their romantic relationships. So that might just be it. But this had, you know, a little bit of it gave something different, and so that's why I wanted to try it out. So yeah, I will be recommending this series. I'm glad that I finally read this book. And yeah, this is very good. Just wasn't a favorite, that's all. And with that being said, I think it is time for us to wrap up this video. I don't even remember what I read, so let me figure that out first. Okay, so in this vlog, we read the Book of Life, and I rated that a 4-star. We read The Fake Boyfriend, Fiasco, and that ended up being a 2.5-star. Merciless Saviors, and that was a 4-star. And The Davenports, which ended up being a 3-star. So overall, I would call this pretty successful. I finished off 3 series. A lot of success in this video, and I'm happy about that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Anything that you do to support me and my channel, friend, I really appreciate it. I hope you have the best day that you possibly can. Remember to take care of yourself, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.